Welcome to the BVTV network, coming to you from the UK studios of BizVision. I'm your host, Malcolm Gallagher. This is episode 3 in the BVTV Behind the Button trilogy with author Jill Strickland Brown. So hello for the final time, Jill.
Yeah. Hello. I'm so honored to be here for the third time. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, I just enjoyed chatting to you because you're so bouncy and so wanting to give, which is brilliant. Jill, I know that you're an everything is possible kind of person, and that's a great attitude to have. But looking back over your years in business and also the contents of your book, do you think our visionary womanpreneurs need to be aware of any red lines that shouldn't be crossed when building a business? After all, forewarned is forearmed, isn't it?
Yes. I'm going to give you a different answer that you may not expect. When I think about that question, the first thing that actually comes to mind maybe isn't the nuts and bolts of business, but I think my vision and what has really helped me in the industry is the support of other women. Again, I talked about, success leaves clues. And I would say a red line that I never, ever cross is not supporting other women, maybe viewing them as competition or, comparing your chapter 1 to their chapter 10, because we all know that comparing or comparison is the killer of joy. So I think that's really important, that we're all a network, and they say empowered women empower women. And I think that's something really important to remember is your network and, coming from a place of service as opposed to competition. I think that's really important, and you get far more when you work together.
Yeah. You see, what I like about you, I hope you don't mind me saying this, you can blush as red as your blouse if you want, but I think you've got a humble approach. I found that too many people, women and men, it's not, once they start doing success, they let the power go to their head, and as you say, they don't connect. They'll only talk with what they regard as their peers. That's wrong, isn't it?
I do. I think connection is the key to life. If you think about it, connecting with people and understanding their point of view. And if we look at a worldview, I think, a lot of problems we're having right now would be lack of connection and understanding another person's point of view, and, having discourse in saying that, I may or may not agree with your point of view, but I absolutely respect you as a person. And how can we help each other? What can we do? So yes, I think leave your ego at the door.
Yeah. And another sort of red line, I think that might not be a red line. It might be a yellow one on the road, but basically, it's that people have lost trust in people, haven't they? Particularly in the pandemic and the great resignation of people leaving the jobs. They've lost trust, and I think that trust that's been lost, though, I'm sure has been set by the company, the corporate itself. It's not understanding that customers who buy from you trust you, don't they?
Well, to buy from you, they have to know you, love you, trust you. So, again, it's all about them. Always has been about them. But you mentioned, the loss of trust in COVID. I agree in some aspects, but also silver lining. I always look for the silver lining. And I think the silver lining of COVID is the gift of time. For me, COVID allowed me to put my thoughts down on paper and produce this book of the collaboration or with other women, and also with my 20 years experience, to just put that on paper, because we were all running around like crazy from one thing to the next. And it gave us, I would say, the big, pause button, and we got our families back, family dinners, spent time with our spouses, spent time with our kids, and we got the gift of time, which is something that you never get back. Once it's spent, it's given to us, and it's spent, and you can never get it back. And that is something that time is our only asset that we have.
Yeah. Now, you employ people, and I think an important red line that I'd like to sort of discuss with you here is how you treat people that work for you is essential, isn't it?
Karma is an interesting thing. Through my years, I agree, there's certain things that have happened and you can't sweat the small stuff. Retail especially, it's a roller coaster. You have your highs and your lows. So what I try to do is when I'm low, I try not to get too low, and when I'm high, remember that this is all a phase. What goes up must come down. So you just stay in the middle. When you're making hay, it's great, but you put away for a rainy day. So I think, you got to ride the wave.
Yeah. Do you have a philosophy of how to treat people, your staff, I meant?
Oh, my staff. You can't do it alone. That's for sure. So you need them. I think appreciating their set of skills or what they bring to the table. And I was actually just speaking to my IT girl yesterday, and she's doing a fantastic job with my social media. And she kept asking for my direction. And I said, I'll give you a little bit, but actually, I want you to take ownership. And I don't want to kill your creativity. I feel that if you micromanage them or don't allow them to take ownership or don't allow them to bring their talents to the table, you're missing out. They have a set of skills that I don't have, and that's why I hired them. So I think allowing them to just grow is really important.
I think that's a great piece of advice, especially as we are at the moment. The millennials coming in, Generation Z coming into the marketplace there. They want that opportunity, don't they?
Yes. And I will say it's interesting working with the younger people because they've had information, at their fingertips. If they have a question, they go to Google, or like you said, take a class or a tutorial. Where I came from the generation of, a job is an opportunity. It's not a job, and, sweat equity and all of that. So it's really interesting showing them the work ethic. You can't get to the top of the mountain without climbing that mountain.
Yes,
so, teaching them that, but then they bring a lot to the table and teach me as well. So I think it's really important.
Well, on that exercise of mountain climbing, we better just say thanks, Jill. Now let's give viewers and listeners details of your URL, your website address, which obviously viewers you can see on the screen behind me. But for listeners, let me spell it out. All the W's Jill, which is spelt with a J, JillStricklandBrown.com, JillStricklandBrown.com. Jill's book is called Behind the Button, My Journey in Life and Fashion and How They're Interwoven. In this very special Visionary Womanpreneur trilogy, you've had the opportunity of learning from someone who has not only achieved great success, but is now passionately passing on her advice and guidance. Now you've started, make sure you continue to receive her guidance by buying and using Behind the Button. It's a great book, believe me. Thanks for a great trilogy, Jill.
Thank you. I'm so honored to speak to your audience.